Hello, welcome to the Gray Divide.
What's up, guys?
I'm Arch.
I'm John.
We wanted to start a sort of dialogue between me and my coworker here. We've worked together for about a year now,
A little bit over a year.
and we always have these crazy discussions at work, and
Every day.
they don't ever go anywhere. So we figured we'd put them down on a little bit more of a standard format. That way we can get outside opinions about what we think and whatnot.
Yeah.
So here's where we're at, the Gray Divide.
The Gray Divide, meaning kind of a mixture of black and white, because nothing's ever really black and white. But we're going to try to find a medium or some kind of compromise on all of these issues that we wreck each other's brains with every day at work.
The first episode we're wanting to deal with is the Black Lives Matter movement.
The Black Lives Matter movement. I guess.
For me, as a white guy, my biggest problem is when there's a broad statement made that says, "Hey, all white people are racist."
I think, and again, look, I just want to say first, we have to separate the idea of Black Lives Matter, the organization, and Black Lives Matter, the idea, because it's really just two different things that kind of just play on the same field. Black Lives Matter is an actual organization that thrives themselves on equality and fighting for justice for black and minority, kind of mixed in there a little bit. I think where we kind of get it mixed up is we label anything that's making a pro statement for black people or bringing up some of the issues that face black people. You label that as Black Lives Matter and tie it in with the organization. It's kind of two different things. Like Black Lives Matter organization, you don't have to be a member to have the idea that black lives do matter. And Black Lives Matter doesn't mean that white lives don't matter. That I hate that constant comeback. Well, white lives matter or all lives matter. Dude, everybody's lives matter. Nobody's cut out of it. The only reason we say Black Lives Matter is because sometimes it seems like those are the ones that don't get counted as even being lives. There's a whole historical context to not being a full human and not being empowered, and all kinds of ideas that go behind it, which is why we need to say Black Lives Matter. If I like the analogy with the fireman and pulls up in the neighborhood and there's a house on fire and he starts putting out the fire and someone runs up and says, "Hey, my house matters too. All houses matter." Yeah, all houses matter, but your lives aren't the ones on fire right now.
Why is it? The original question that I posed was, why are all white people racist?
All people aren't racist. If you look at the idea that racism is, oh, I hate you because you're black or because you're Mexican, that's not what a racist is. I believe that the definition of racism talks about the system of racism that may put down one race and elevate another. If you're in the race that's getting elevated, you might be benefiting from a system you don't even know exists. On the other hand, the ones that you're stepping on to do so are noticing it, and they notice it in everyday issues that you may not even pay attention to. Anything from hailing a cab to getting a job to just having a normal conversation with people. I think everything in the world just deals with race, and to say that it doesn't, or to say that you're not part of the system that benefits from everything being about race, then you're delusional.
Do you feel like that there's a economic portion to that, notwithstanding anything else? Like, is the fact that I'm not a very rich white man a factor in how racist I am?
Okay. I don't say that you personally benefit from black people being downtrodden or being disenfranchised, but I will say that if we both went for the same job with the same credentials in the same neighborhood, you're more likely to get the job off of skin tone alone. And that's even with a black person hiring, because black people don't always trust black people either.
Do you feel like a lot of the Black Lives Matter in general stuff is just basic social media hype? It's hyped up. It's meant to be getting you views on your page.
A ton of it.
Likes on Facebook.
A ton of it is about that, and a ton of it is being misused for that exact reason. But to say that the idea is stupid, bad, or incorrect just because of a small group of people using it for the wrong reasons would be wrong. I believe that Black Lives Matter, the organization, the movement, the idea as a whole, has brought a lot of attention to things that people in the black community have known and experienced on a daily basis for 100 years or so. These aren't new issues to us. I think at this point it's just making it an open table discussion. It makes us able to, ask a question. It makes us able to get somebody else's opinion, see stuff differently, do things differently, that kind of thing. I think that people are definitely wanting to be famous off of Black Lives Matter, or being a protester, or you want your little 15 minutes of shine, and all that's nonsense. I think the more important issue here is that black people feel disenfranchised, and it'd be nice if America as a whole could make us feel a little bit better about it.
But what can I do as a single person aside from doing nothing? I mean, I can speak out when I see something wrong, but
But will you?
But I do.
I think that becomes an issue.
I personally do. I feel like mainly my problem with the movement is I know it's not supposed to be an intrinsic, when you say that, all white people, it's not like you're saying you personally are a white person and you're racist.
But that's how it's taken.
But that's how you take it. Because
that's how it's taken all the time. If it's like I can't even bring up the issue. My brother could have got shot, and I feel like it was because he was looked at wrong. And as soon as I mention it, a white person jumping, my brother got shot too. My cousin just got shot, man. And everybody gets shot. And I'm not saying that they didn't. I'm not saying that they don't. But I'm just saying I have an issue with the way that this part was done, or this particular one was done.
Do you feel like, there are clear instances of blatant racism. There are clear
Absolutely
instances of this happening. But for me, and if I had to generalize it into a number, I'd say 7 out of 10. Anything that comes on the news is somebody crying wolf. It's not a real thing. To every 1 or 2 that is a real problem, and that's what's that it's getting clouded up in stuff that's
Absolutely.
just there for likes. I don't feel like... Take Milwaukee, for instance. A clearly justified event happened.
From what I know, or what I understand so far about the Milwaukee situation, it does seem like it was a clearly justified shooting from the story of the police officers. Milwaukee is one I won't stand for, and I won't even tie Black Lives Matter to that, because I haven't seen them protesting anything or making any kind of mass movement there. What I saw was a bunch of teenagers that reacted to a killing in their city and just wanted something to do, so they set fires and buildings on fire. I mean, that was crazy, and that was a little bit far out. That had nothing to do with the actual movement of wanting to make things better. But I will say that even in those same situations where a cop made a justified shooting of a person that was armed, and maybe he faced the cops, because I didn't hear that he was pointing it at them or making any kind of threatening gestures. A person that was facing the cops with a weapon, if you feel that's justified, that's fine. But there are 100 videos online of people that aren't black, that are white, and they have their weapons on them. They pull them out, they brandish them, they load and unload them, all in front of the police, and none of them ever get shot. And that's the issue we have, is who's determining how do you determine that someone deserves to lose their life in a matter of seconds? It takes juries weeks and hours and time and all kinds of extra evidence, and you have to prove certain things to decide whether someone lives or dies. A cop decides whether someone lives or dies within seconds.
So my response to that is they're trained to assess a situation in that small period of time. Yes, bad decisions are made. Yes, it happens that way, but you have to make the decision. In that case alone, it was against an armed black man who was there running from the police towards a crowded area with a loaded weapon. Police, that's their job, to protect the public. They were running towards public. Clearly, you've already stated that this was, as it
Seemingly
states
justified.
right now,
Seemingly justified.
all the facts we have right now makes it a justified, I hate to say killing, but that's what it is. But it...
I don't want to.
We're not gonna stay on this subject, but
I don't want to defend the anything that happened in Milwaukee before or after that shooting. I just want to, basically, I want to say I don't defend any of that. But I feel like sometimes when people rise up off of a seemingly small situation, it's just kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back, and that doesn't even have to be a real straw. It could be a authentic made straw. But if there was already a pile of crap on top of this camel's back, anything would have set it off. So maybe within this small situation that, we're rising up for the wrong reason, but maybe there's an underlying issue there that may need to be discussed on a larger scale as to why these teens or why these young adults even feel it necessary to respond in this way. That's what discussions I like this I feel are beneficial. We need to open up that the avenue to say, hey, this is why I feel beat up, and you tell me, oh no, you're okay, if that's what you can tell me, or if that's what we can find a middle on. But this exact issue, as wrong as it may be, don't loot any buildings, don't burn anything down. There's better ways to handle it, but I see this as just a response to something bigger that's been going on for a long time.
Going with my earlier point, do you feel like that, out of the 10 things that get reported in a week or a month or whatever the time period is, out of those 10 and 7 of them being just overhyped crap, do you feel like that's adding to the tension? Do you see where that would be a problem if, yes, we need to focus on these 2, 3 that happened, but these 7 don't need to be reported on. They don't need to be focused on, because you're giving people 10 things. You're not giving them the 2 that actually matter. You're giving people 10 things.
I'd say the 8-to-2 ratio or whatever ratio you're using is probably a little bit off. And I say that because every shooting that happens, of course, isn't some racist cop out on a mission to kill a young black kid or to, murder anybody. But if his ideas or his views of people are anything like that's displayed on the news, of the actual viewers of the news, because the news teaches you to hate black people. And as bold as a statement as that may be, that's how I feel when I watch the news. We get the worst coverage, and we get the worst pictures, and even our mugshots are these terrible, like monstrous pictures, and they just flash it all day, just flash it, this dangerous guy, this dangerous guy, this dangerous guy. And then you'll see right after an article or a story of a white guy, and they won't even put his picture up of some heinous crime, and his picture's not up. They just have like a generic picture of some sort on the screen. And I don't think that's fair, is that they just villainize black people, and they want you to see their picture and flash this crime, and black people do great things all day, and they get like a 30-second segment. I don't think that that's fair, and I think that plays into the mind of a regular person, and it plays into the mind of a police officer. So as a cop, if I'm watching my morning news and I just got flashed 6 robberies that happened in one little area, and all those pictures were black people, the next black person I meet is probably going to remind me somewhat of this same guy. That's unfortunate. That's the narrative we have to break, is that all black people aren't criminals. All black people aren't murderers. All black people don't rob people. Just like all white people don't do whatever it is, like we say you guys do.
Whatever it is, white.
Yeah, I mean, no, but there's no negative narrative behind that. A prime example, I think I showed you this week, or I may have showed someone else. I showed there were 2 black teenagers in North Carolina, I believe. They killed a guy that stopped to help them. He stopped to help them get their truck out of the ditch, and they robbed and shot and killed him. Terrible, terrible situation. I won't defend that at all. There won't be any marching for these guys. That's just a terrible, terrible situation. That same day, a 21-year-old college student he killed a man, stabbed his wife, killed both of them, and when the police approached him, they were chewing his face. He was chewing the victims' faces off. And what was crazy about both of these situations is that with these young black kids that may not have had a record before. They waited till they got to the station, got their mugshot, and then they took all their mugshots and pushed it out to every media source that was available. But when this white guy got caught for killing 2 people and chewing off their faces, they used all of his college photos or the photos of him and his family. That immediately you start to connect, your heartstrings start to connect and play for this young white guy that killed 2 people. Oh, what drug was he on? Oh, what problems did he have? Oh, what could have made him do this? But with the 2 black people, you immediately villainize them and, oh, they deserve to burn in hell, or I hope they get the death penalty. There was no victim for seeing the children misled in both of these situations.
To be fair, they were both pretty big pieces of crap.
Absolutely,
Just
100%.
Hands down, crap people.
Yeah.
Going back to the Black Lives Matter part of this, I think majorly a problem with the movement in general is by choice. It's not a leaderless movement. I mean, that's a very big common misconception that it's leaderless. There are leaders, but not on a ground level. They're
How would you lead a movement like Black Lives Matter?
Here's the thing, is without having on the ground level leaders, you have events that happen with false narratives. You get, what was that Black Lives Matter march that went on and they were running down the streets? What do we want? Dead cops. Completely against the Black Lives Matter principles. But it was done under that flag, and then they go on their Twitter and they say, "Oh, well, that wasn't part of us."
That wasn't. It was that, like, okay, you can't. Right now, we could have a meeting of gamers, and it'd be everybody that loved the game No Man's Sky, and we all meet downtown, and we all start marching because we love No Man's Sky. And then these 2 guys randomly say, "No Man's Sky sucks. Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty," and everybody joins in.
Clearly, one of them is wrong.
And everybody joins in. Would we then say that group terrorizes downtown Indianapolis, yelling Call of Duty, No Man's Sky is dead? No, it's a stupid thing to look at a group of people, hundreds and hundreds of people.
But that's exactly what you're doing when you say all white people are racist.
Who said all white people are racist? I would never say that. I don't believe that at all. I believe that the small group of white people that may be racist or may have something to gain from holding one race down, those are the ones that push their ideas out further, and it has a way more broad spectrum than just your idea that everybody is the same and everybody has the same struggles and everything's good. It's all okay. I feel like the people who control the media are the ones that control how people feel about race in general. They make you feel some type of way about anything. If they play it enough, if they say that you're, and if they say enough that it's a terrorist attack, then you're gonna believe it's a terrorist attack when really it was a water balloon fight.
It's a terrorist attack. We just had this reported in.
That's normally how it goes. Yeah. So I think that whoever controls what people are listening to, or whoever controls what people see on a regular basis, are the ones who control the view of the other side, or control the view of a group as a whole.
Do you fundamentally feel that the BLM movement, aside from what it has already done, is going to achieve anything else? I mean, the reason I'm asking you is you have these protests that are blocking streets. Mm-hmm. Ambulances need to get by, and you can argue whether they were sent there to break them up, but
which sounds really feasible.
Say that there was a real emergency, and that was the quickest route. Now you're blocking traffic. Blocking traffic,
or the ambulance issue. We've discussed that before. I don't believe that's. I don't believe you should block.
Speaking of that, white people. You're the same people that were like, "Oh, if I was in my car, I'd run them down." And then, like, a week later, when the Nice attacks happened, like, "Oh man, I can't believe that happened. Who would run over people with their car?" What?
It all matters what you're looking at, I guess. With that particular issue, I don't believe that in a protest you should stop anybody from getting the kind of medical services or the needs that they need to get met. But what I believe that protests did, and what those kind of protests do, is it draws attention to whatever issue you're protesting. So of course the national headline is Black Lives Matter protesters block a freeway for 2 hours. Ambulances weren't allowed to go through. But what it does is it makes you go find out what were these protesters protesting about. What was their issue? What is it? Whether you agree with it or not, it makes you find out what's going on instead of living behind the eyes that don't see the kind of trouble that these people are in. If they're out there, believe me, if you go out on a freeway and risk your safety to protest an issue, that issue means a lot to you. Of course, to the people that sitting at the front of the protest trying to get home or get to the grocery store or wherever they're trying to get, they're gonna hate you. Of course, those aren't the people that you're going for, though. You're going for the view of everyone saying, hey, why were these people blocking a freeway? Let's find out. Let's see what happened. Let's find out if we can do something to make it all go away. And of course, there's nothing to make it all go away, but the bringing of attention and the bringing of change comes through drastic measures. Dr. King himself led one of the greatest protests ever. He protested, I think he had people not using the bus line in Alabama for 370 something days until the governor finally had to say, hey, what do we need to do to make sure that your people can get on the bus, because that's what's paying my people's paychecks. We're having an economic issue, all because these people banded together and decided that no one was going to ride the bus. Some people walked 20 miles to and from work to make sure that they drew attention to the issue of the struggle that they were going through at the moment.
The difference being that was peaceful protest, not blocking traffic that wasn't interfering with the normal day-to-day activity of the people around them. Mm-hmm. What's happening now is literally you're interrupting daily life.
That kind of protest now in 2016 is going to get no attention. We have to go to more drastic measures. We have to do bigger things. We have to make sure we have to make sure that we can get our ideas out and get the issues that are facing us on a regular basis that nobody else sees. We have to get out to the public and make sure that everyone can see that a certain demographic of people are being screwed over on a regular basis.
See, the problem with that is yes, you're getting that message out, but who are you getting it out to? You're getting it out to the rest of the poor people. That's the majority of the people that you're influencing. And yeah, I mean, that's great, but the poor people aren't the Kochs. They're not the fucking Rockefellers. They don't have all the money. We can't do anything to help more than just speaking out.
Join us and help and help draw attention. Let's take it to the right avenues. If you feel like we're doing it the wrong way, then show us the right way. Point us in the right direction. Get us off the freeway and take us over to the state building. But doing nothing or just being mad at people for wanting the same kind of chances that you and your children enjoy on a regular basis is wrong.
To be fair, I'm mad at everybody.
I know you are.
Everybody sucks.
Yeah, but
I hate you all.
Even with a thought like that, you know, someone that's self-sufficient. I don't need anybody. I don't care about anybody's race. I hate everybody equally. You as that person might still be enjoying a certain type of privilege that everybody isn't privy to. Everybody can't just grab a cab whenever they want to. Everybody can't walk in the store and just shop without being followed. It's an everyday issue. And by the way, all of these ideas, everything that plays into the mind of a black person themselves would cause you to want to give up at any moment. And when I say give up, I mean if you don't feel like the police are protecting you, then why care about the police? If you don't feel like the school system is teaching you, then why care about school? If you don't feel like this job is paying you enough money, then why care about a job? And what that forces you into a situation of is to be that solitary person and to commit crime. If that's your way out, or if you see that as a valuable source of income, which some people do because they never saw anything else as a valuable source of income. But if you see that, then that's what you're left once you give up. We have to stop people from giving up. We have to stop young black men from turning into super thugs, as Hillary Clinton would call them, or you know, to turning in some of these people that we see on a newscast on a regular basis. Some of these people that have made huge mistakes and ruined their lives and the lives of many others, all because they didn't have money. I'm not going to fault anybody for not having any money. I don't condone any crime, but if you don't have money, some of these people will do whatever it takes to feed their family. Yeah, what you heard was a person was robbed and got their cell phone stolen and it got sold to a pawn shop or wherever, but that person fed his family that night. He did what he felt he had to do. Now we have to show them that there's another way to do it.
Having said that, you'll see the same thing in the white communities too.
Yeah.
I mean, go to any trailer park and you'll run into the same thing.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not.
Why aren't they called super thugs?
Because they're white.
So we're admitting a bit of white privilege when it comes to the criminal system.
No, but then you get called white trash.
You're still white.
I mean,
How come they don't get treated the same? I don't see a big uprising and people getting killed in trailer parks all the time. I'm pretty sure if there's just as much, if not more, crime in a trailer park as it is in any hood, ghetto, or project around America. But are those the ones that are being frisked and stopped and frisked? Are those the ones that are being their houses ran into without warrants and their things seized, their cash seized? Are those the same people suffering the same kind of injustice that poor black people or people in poor black communities are suffering?
I feel like it's not exactly the same, but you're arguing to a crowd that's running through their own problems at this exact time. They don't have time for other people's problems.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Nobody has time right now in this country. Nobody. We're overworked. We're underpaid. There's no time for anything.
Until you find some time, you'll continue to find the same issues of these downtrodden young African American men committing crimes in anybody's neighborhood that they see fit because they need money.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for us today. I'm Arch.
I'm John.
Let us know what you think.
Subscribe. Be more videos in the future. We're going to get more and more awesome, I promise. You're going to love to hear us argue. This first video was great, but we really don't like each other, so it'll get a lot worse from here, I promise. Subscribe when you get a chance.
Thanks.
Thanks.